So this lesson is evaluating a sinusoidal function that models a real world situation. In this particular lesson, all we need to do is plug in all the numbers to the equation. So if we're going to find Ryan's height, we're just going to plug in -35 for A. We're going to times it by the cosine of 0.82 times 7. And then we're going to add 47. Since this is radians per second, we want to make sure that our calculator is in radian mode. So we're going to go ahead and type this into the calculator. And I wish, well, one of these days I'll get the TI calculator downloaded on my computer, but I don't have it yet. So we're going to use the calculator given here in Alex. So we'll type in -35 times the cosine of 0.87 times 7. We'll go outside and we'll type in plus 47. We'll make sure we're in radians. We have to click this little radians button at the top, put our equal sign, and we have 12.65. So we'll type that in. 12.65. And I want to make sure it says round to the nearest hundredth. Perfect. We'll check that and we'll try again. So let's see. Oh, it was 0.82. Darn. Okay, so we'll type this again. So we have -35. Oopsies, clear. So -35 cosine 0.82 times 7. Go outside here and add 47. Oopsies. Back up. How do you back up one? There we go. 47 equals 17.04. And we'll recheck. Perfect. All of the problems are like this, where you're just plugging in the numbers to whatever equation they give you. So here really quick is another example where we're trying to find the height of an object using this equation. So we're going to put 95 in our calculator. We'll square it. And then we'll times it by the sine squared of 5 pi divided by 11. Now this is in radians. So again, our calculator needs to be in radians. And then we'll do 2 times 9.8. So we'll type that in. Let me just write it down so I remember what it is. All over 2 times 9.8. Okay, let's make sure we can get our things typed in correctly. And the count. Oh, I can see it over top. Okay, so we have 95 squared times sine squared. Oh, let's see. How do we do this? 5 pi divided by 11. Do we come outside and then square it? Ah, there we go. Perfect. And then divided by 2 times 9.8, change to radians. See if I did this right. 95 squared, sine squared, 5 pi over 11. Perfect. Equals 451.13. And there we go. That's the end of the lesson.